Surprise, everybody. Phone's going off, hang on. Oh, surprise. Welcome. Hello. How are we all? Put that volume up a little bit. That's a bit loud, isn't it? Nice. Okay. How are we, chat? Welcome to a surprise Monday stream. I told you the other day, didn't I? I'm enjoying streaming again, so I thought I'd do a little bit more. I'm just saying. I'm enjoying it. It's fun. Just got home from Winters, and he sent me off with a giant parcel. Well, that's not strictly true. He sent me off with 2 giant parcels. And he's given me both boxes full of his Adeptus Custodes. And he said, if you want to borrow them for a couple of months, you're more than welcome to borrow them for a couple of months. And see what you think of them. Now, one of the reasons why I've been looking at Custodes and intrigued by them is because when the book came out, I read the book. I have it here, right? Hang on. So I have the book here, and when I read it when it first came out, I thought, it's okay, it's not that bad. I think it's decent, it's a good book, it's pretty solid. But I kind of assumed that Custodes were always going to struggle from the same issue they've always kind of had, where there's low model count, means that every time you take a casualty it really stings. And yet, actually, at the last few Factorum events that I've TO'd, Custodes have performed really, 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 really well. And I was a bit intrigued by it, so I've gone back into the book, did a bit more reading. I was talking to Winters about it today, so they intrigued me. I like Custodes, so I used them today. I used them against his new Necrons in a video that's going to go live in deploymentzone.tv, I think next week. So you can see his new Necron Dynasty take on me using Custodes. And I was chatting to them, and he was like, "You want to borrow them? You can borrow them for a few months. If you think you might like using them, borrow them." I was like, "I'm not going to say no to another army to use." This, if Cass is watching, this is in fact a borrowed army this time around. This is genuinely borrowed, not, donated to me. And so he actually boxed them up. He boxed 2 boxes of Custodes up and sent me on my way. So I have two boxes of Custodes here with me, and I think it's like 8,000 to 9,000 points of Custodes that he's lent, which is just mental. And I'm going to give them a go, I think, for the next few months. I'm going to see how I can get on with them. And it's a possibility because I might, in a few months' time, take them to an event or two to see how I can do. I still don't think they have the power to win events. As in, it's not entirely true, because they won the Factorum RTT on Saturday. I don't mean it like that, but I mean that I don't think they are an auto. They're not like Orc Buggies, right? They're not like Admech when Admech first came out. They're not like Drukhari. They're not like an auto win army, but they are strong, I think, now. And I think they're a lot stronger than I actually thought they were. So I'm interested to see, because I'm an elite army person, right? I don't like hordes. I don't like playing, like, one of the reasons why I would never like to play Genestealer cults or orcs is because I don't like lots and lots of infantry. I can't stand lots and lots of infantry. So, it's not something that I think personally want to run as a horde army. So, I like elite armies, and elite armies is something that always appeals to me. And even when I build marine armies, or even when I put together Eldar forces, I try and take as few models as possible. I like Hero Hammer, right? I really like Hero Hammer. Hi Marshall Miles, thank you so much for celebrating being a member for 5 months, by the way, what a hero. I like Hero Hammer, I'm a fan of Hero Hammer, and Custodes kind of feel like as close as you can sort of get to Hero Hammer, I guess. Because individual units, individual models are still exceptionally strong. So I'm super intrigued by them, but I thought I'd ask the community, like, how good are Custodes currently in 40k? Like, are they broken? Are they great? Are they good? Are they average? Are they poor?
Liam, your 40 Kelvin's library card is now maxed out. Can't borrow more than a Custodes army and a Titan. Make sure you return them in a month to avoid fines.
First, Ginger Steve, thank you for the super chat. Secondly, fuck you. The Titan, George, is not borrowed. George is given. He's not borrowed. I have one thing borrowed on my 40k library card, my 40 Kelvin's library card. And the one thing I have borrowed on my 40k Kelvin's library card is the Custodes army, right? Because he lent that to me today, and maybe I'll choose not to ever give it back to him. Perhaps I'll just keep it forever, and then that won't be borrowed either, right? Because you can do that with library books, can't you? You can keep them forever and just pay like £3 and go, yeah, I forgot to give it back. So maybe if I keep the Custodes forever and just play Winters like £3 and forget to give them back. maybe. So what do we think? Do we think Custodes are a broken army right now? Or do you think they are super strong? Or do you think that they're good? Or do you think that they're actually average? Because I think they're kind of really strong. I don't know about broken. I don't think they're broken. I think you still need to play with them. And there's some things that they run into now, right, that aren't necessarily massively concerned about Custodes. So, for example, the new Tyrannid Crusher Stampede. So if you know what Crusher Stampede, it's an army of renown, because we all love armies of renown, right? And it gives every Tyrannid a 5+ invulnerable save. It gives every Tyrannid -1 damage, which is the big kicker, and it also means every Tyrannid counts as many wounds as they are. No, sorry, counts as many models as they are wounds for the purposes of holding objectives. And that's impressive because they're all -1 damage. -1 damage is impressive against Custodes because they lost their D3 damage. Now, one thing that I like about what Games Workshop are doing with 9th edition codexes, and I genuinely like this, is that they're coming away from D3 damage and D6 damage, or they seem to be mostly coming away from those. And a lot of D3 damage stuff is becoming flat 2, and a lot of the D6 damage stuff is becoming like D3 +3 and stuff. So the damage output is less swingy and more consistent. I kind of like that personally. I'm a big fan of that. But coming away from D3 damage against stuff that's -1 damage and going to flat 2 damage means that Custodes basically become 1 damage against Crusher Stampede. So I think they're an A to A+ army. I don't think they're S tier. I'm interested to know what you guys think. And I'm thinking about using them on. So we've got the first ever live stream on Winters' channel on Wednesday, and I don't think I can use Custodes in them. I think that on his channel, his first ever live stream, I am gonna probably have to run the Eternal Slaughter because it's on his live stream, right? Maybe 2 Liam streams in one day. This is the afterlife.
Doubted the Discord when joined. 100% worth it.
I don't know which one you're talking about, Clarky, mine or DZ, but I'm glad you're enjoying it, mate. Thank you so much. There's another one coming from.
Is the Custodes or the current rules suit them?
Is the Custodes or the current rules suit them? Is the Custodes or the Gaz? You might have to rewrite that out, mate. I'll read it if you write it out. BMS says A+ for sure. That seems good. Where was Ross's comment? I missed that one. I've owned 2 Custodes armies in the time. I got bored of both and sold them on. They are good but get very samey. That's an interesting comment. Locust Destroyers with Examination Protocols did a good job against my friend's Custodes. Then he charged and wiped 2 damage warriors with...
Be warned what you shits say about my Custodes eyes.
What are you saying, Diamonds? Diamonds, I have a massive Custodes army here now. You'll get to see more Custodes on the channel. Be excited. I've just ordered their box with the GSE. Would like to give them a shot myself. Interesting. Custodes do what they say on the box. There are a few bad choices when making a list. Custodes look good, but then being the 40k version of RMP puts me off a little. The red fez is all too familiar. No one likes the RMP, right? Custodes are 100% broken. That's my story and I'm sticking to it in case Darius beats me in the Dempsey Con tournament. Who am I kidding when he beats me? My buddy is like 11-0 with them against the top players in Canada. Some Team Canada players. That's interesting. 11-0. I didn't think they were that good. See, I didn't think they were that good. Interested to know how will the Custodes do in the new strat rules, i.e. minimum 5 man units perform some strats. Oh, you mean actions? That's going to be an interesting one, right? Because 3 Custodian Guard would need a 4 or less to do things like retrieve Octarius data. I always hated Custodians doing actions anyway, because I just felt like, so if you're doing actions with a squad of 10 guardsmen at 50 points, do you really give a fuck? Probably not. You don't really care. If you're doing an action with a squad of 5 Custodian Guard at 45 points, 50 points a model, so it's 250 points, you probably really care. Like, that probably really sucks.
Depends if you take flyers.
Big super heavy flyers, Crab, right? Absolutely, what a hero. The sneak attack stream, also if you like Hero Hammer, play guard. I'm not sure that works, Paul. I don't know if you know this, but the guard not very good. Crusher Stampede, New Tau, Orcs, pre-nerf Thick City. He's beat them all. Jesus, fair play. Bikes are too pushed at 85 points per model. Too pushed? What do you mean? Biggest win, easily transportable in a single case. Look, yeah. That's what I'm thinking, right? Imagine going to Gibraltar with Custodes. Just have to take a fucking box about that big, right? And you've got the whole army there. 2 of the top 8 lists at LVA were Custodes, were they? I haven't seen the top 8 at Custodes. What won Custodes at LVA? What won LVA in the end? I don't know. Yours 100% joined for the Warhammer Stay for the Bum X race. That sounds great. If that isn't an advert for Discord, I don't know what is, right? Let's not balance armies based on performance of literally the best players out there. Is it the Custodes or do the current rules suit them? I don't know if this is the thing, right? I don't think the Custodes suit new missions. This was my logic in my theory, right? This is where I'm saying with it. So with the book change, there was a number of things that changed in Custodes that made them very good. The shield hosts all got pretty good. The changes to like sentinel blades got an extra strength and stuff like that, and grenade launchers got an extra strength. There's lots of little tweaks here and there. Everything going 2 damage. There's little tweaks here and there. Little tricks that change that make Custodes a much better force overall, much more consistent. And I was okay with it. But in a game where some of the missions you have to hold 3 objectives, and they lack bodies, in a game where you rely heavily on secondaries, which a lot of them people are required to do actions, etc. Especially in the new chapter proof 2022 as well, where you can't engage with models less than such a number of unit, and you can't retrieve Octarius data with model blah 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 blah. I thought actually they're going to really struggle now. They haven't got the bodies to hold loads of objectives.
The guard may have crap characters, but when characters are under 50 PTS a model, imagine how many you can have.
Touche, Paul. Touche. Right, and then, so you can't hold tons of objectives because you don't have the footprint. With the exception of jet bikes, you're not ridiculous, and maybe Sagittarium if you're going to have the Forge World, they're not ridiculously fast. There's just a number of things, the lack of access to certain actions because of the low model count in each unit, etc. There's just a number of things that made me go, okay, they're quite a tough army, they've got a decent damage output, but they are going to struggle with the missions and the objectives. So you're relying on that resilience and that damage output. And the resilience often is either you're relying on a 4+ invulnerable save or 4 up for no pain. So it's a 50-50 as well. It's swingy, right? I just kind of thought there was too much reliance on that, and therefore they would struggle with the actual missions. And yet I've been proved wrong. There's the 2 events I've been to, they've been performing well. They perform well at LVA. So I'm missing something. And I don't know what I missed in AdMech one, and it was Richard Siegler. I mean, of course it was fucking Siegler. I mean, Siegler could win it with fucking... Siegler could have gone and won it with old edition Tau, though, to be fair, right? Let's be honest. Do you have any thoughts on the No Man's Land missions? Really kills units with pre-game moves. So we use those... By the way, great name. We use those missions at the Factorum RT2 this weekend. The first game we did was a mission with No Man's Land with the Dawn and War deployment. And we used it specifically because a lot of the guys that were coming to the RTT were going to Beachhead this weekend, which is a super major down on the south coast. So that's why we gave people the opportunity to play it, because Beachhead were using it. However, what I have stipulated is, because we're now running the Factorum GTs from now on, we will not use that mission again. And the reason why we won't use that mission again is specifically because of the No Man's Land rule. I have no problems with strange, interesting missions. I have no problems with different missions. I will not use a mission that takes something that people pay for in their army list and says, yeah, you can't use it. That's bollocks for competitive play.
Super chat for sake of it.
Thank you, Yarl Tom. Thank you also for celebrating being a member for 5 months. Happy to walk out of work and find a bonus live stream. Great news after a bad shift. Sucks you had a bad shift. Welcome to the stream, dude. So yeah, so that particular mission, to answer that question, that particular mission, I don't like any mission that then takes abilities that certain armies have and turns off the abilities altogether. So a guy there took Necrons and had a pre-game move, couldn't use it to move into No Man's Land, had to move within his deployment zone. Jake took Genius to the Cults, had some points he'd paid for to be able to pre-game move, couldn't use it. There's lots of things that... There's lots of feel-bads moments in a mission like that where it specifically shuts down an ability that your army's got, right? So I don't like that one at all. True, on the objectives, I played the Scouring on the weekend and I was totally stretched out. Yeah, absolutely, see? I don't engage with models ever. They always turn me down. Big Red 40k's in the chat. Big Red 40k, it's a strange occurrence that you're in the chat rather than streaming right now. You're almost always streaming, right? So if you guys want to see another channel that streams tons and tons and tons, check out Big Red 40k and his dulcet Canadian tones. I'm sure he'd appreciate me shouting him out to you lot. So there you go. You can take Sisters of Silence for actions. You can. And they now, they now fit in the list better than they did before. Absolutely. But I don't know. Hi, are we talking game or lore? Oh, never mind. We're talking kind of... talking kind of both, right? Lore-wise, I think we know how good a Custodian is. A Custodian, lore-wise, can take on a greater demon on his own. In the game, though, that's, I think, where the sort of focus is at the moment. Aren't all Custodians models other than bikes OBSEC? Infantry only, Craftford Altons are. Infantry only, so the Dreadnoughts, if you take the 40-year-old Dreadnoughts or the Contempt or whatever, or even if you're brave enough to take a Custodian Land Raider, they're also not OBSEC, so it's just the infantry. It's the fact they can shut down rerolls for 1 CP and transhuman for 1 CP. The transhuman for 1 CP depends though, Phil, right? So they only transhuman for 1 CP if they are a unit of 3 or less. If they're more than 3, then transhuman becomes 2 CPs. All infantry keyword Custodians, including characters, are OBSEC and counts 2 models each. Yes. Unless you use a specific warlord trait, Timings, which makes the character counts 4 models, which is quite nice. Liam, they've gone and dropped it from Beachhead anyhow now, have they? That's a good choice. Dropping that mission from Beachhead is a good choice. Because it's a shit mission, Eddie, to be fair. I've categorically said a few times that Match Play 9th edition is the best Match Play tournament edition we've ever had, and the missions have always been pretty good on the whole. Anything, like I said, anything that shuts off an army ability just because of why not is bollocks, because it can be really pivotal in affecting how the game plays, and anything that's really pivotal in affecting how the game plays and doesn't allow the players to just dupe it out on the table, I'm not a fan of. I mean, that's saying that we are playing a D6 game, right? So there's... no matter how good one player is versus the other, if his dice betrays him on the day, he may lose anyway. But the other thing that Beachhead are doing that I don't like, and I'm not trying to slander Beachhead at all. I've never been, so it's not fair of me to say that. And I've heard good things about. I think it's Adam who's running it, but they're doing player place terrain, and I'm not a fan of that either. Kylo's in the chat as well. Evening, Kylo. Welcome. I'm really enjoying my Custodes from James March. That's No Man Land screwed me yesterday. James March, are you March of War, James March? Or are you not March of War, James March? Yeah, No Man's Land is a shit mission that should never do it. Aren't the Custodians very effective strat stackers, able to be selected as single terminators and can have OBSEC? So if they can focus and kill opponents' OBSEC, numbers don't matter as much. Semi-true. I'm not going to spoil the game that I played against Winters today that will go live next week against Necrons, but it's interesting seeing, because I used Unleash the Lions on Alaris Custodians because I like the idea of Hero Hammer, and it was interesting how that affected the game. That's all I'm going to say. Even to the Factorum, guys, check out Factorum on Facebook because we're now going to run all their events for them. Yep. We're going to run all their events for them in the future, their GTs. So make sure you check out Factorum on Facebook because that's where I think the ticket information will be going up. Another surprise stream just finished work. Lots of people finishing work for surprise streams. The bikes are mean now. See, I always thought the bikes got objectively worse. I think I would rather have re-rolling wounds versus +1 wound. Maybe that's just my preference. I don't know. Just saying, Palace Grav tanks are the best. So they're the small ones. So if they're the Palace are the small ones, Crab, then in the box of tricks that Winters has given me, there are 3 small Palace in there. Sisters die on a whim, look at them and they drop. Still talking models, James? Is that what we're about? Big Red says, thank you, Liam. I'm in the chat because I was dog sitting all night and I'm beat. My brain's not able to engage at the moment. Easy to watch the stream and edit and stream today. Yeah, fair play, mate. But you're welcome for the shout out, buddy. Genuinely.
Custodes are completely balanced, okay. Ignore my blade champion that can only be hit on 5+ in melee by anything.
I did find... I don't think the Blade Champion's that good, Tywins. I think he's okay, actually. I don't think he's one of the problems in the book, to be fair. I think the Blade Champion's pretty decent. But I did find today that one of my favourite things that exists in the Custodian book, and I love this, and this might be too strong. To be fair, this might be something that makes them too strong. I ran them today as Emperor's Chosen. And I like Emperor's Chosen for a couple of reasons, okay? So first of all, there's a 4+ feel no pain against mortal wounds. Most books nowadays have a plethora of ways in which they can inflict mortal wounds on their opponent. Genes to the Cults can.
Good evening, everyone.
Evening Talk, welcome, buddy. Where was I? Genes to the Cults can. Fucking Tau can. Everything can. Everything can dish out mortal. Sisters can dish out mortal wounds with bolt guns. Apparently, everything can mortal wound now, right? So a 4+ feel no pain against mortal wounds is nice. And then the other thing that they get is Emperor's Chosen is reroll of a hit roll and a reroll of a wound roll, right? If you unleash the lions on 3, 4, 5 Illyris Custodians, that means each one of those individual Illyris Custodian Terminators gets a reroll, hit roll, and a reroll of a wound roll, right? Now, that's good straight away. But the other thing that Emperor's Chosen get, which I wanted to try out today, and I did try out, and it was amazing, is they have a single command point stratagem. And that single stratagem says you can pick any Emperor's Chosen unit, and you can pick another shield host fighting stance or fighting style, basically their chapter tactic. And that particular unit then has that fighting style until the start of the next custodian player's command phase. So you can have a unit of, for sake of argument, you can have a unit of 5 jet bikes. You can charge them into melee. You can fight. In your next turn, you spend a command point and make them solo watch. They can then fall back and charge because they're solo watch. Everything else in your army still has your 4+ save against mortal wounds and your reroll hit and wound roll. You can have a unit of custodian terminators or custodian guard that are in combat currently, and then you could choose, but they're surrounded maybe and they can't fall back and charge. Okay, cool. You can make them another shield host fighting style, which means you always fight first. There's other things in there. You can make a unit Shadow Keepers, and therefore everything that's in melee range of you, in engagement range of you, is -1 attack. There's just so many good things you can do with that particular stratagem. And it really fits the narrative of the Custodians being able to adapt live, there and then, to what's going on and change the way they fight. It's much more flexible than Martial Katars, because the Martial Katars are much more restricted. Anyway, James, you said it is March of War. Good. Welcome. Evening. Check out March of War on Google. He does some incredible resin bases. I've got my dreadnoughts are all based on his amazing resin bases from March of War. Winters is basing his whole Necrons on those resin bases. They're really, really nice. So check out that stuff. And I think you can find him on Instagram as well. Make sure you find him on Instagram. Tio Kylo says, no super chat for me tonight, saving it for Beachhead and buying myself something big. I'm sure £5 wouldn't hurt, Tio. Kylo just saying. For your birthday. Alright, okay. If it's your birthday, let you off, mate. No worries. Loud side, trying to explain the game to my parents and my 7-year-old daughter. Don't know why you bothered trying, Ross. I bought the Nightbringer and kicked my friend's Telemon to death in one combat phase.
All Liam. Why don't you ask Winters if you can use his AdMech against his 13th when you live stream on his channel?
He's just given me his whole Custodes army to use for the next few months. Mick, I can't ask him to bring his AdMech as well. I have nothing left on his shelves. Will he? Come on. So you bought your Nightbringer, kicked his Telemon to death, felt good even if I lost soon after. The Nightbringer is horrifically good though, right? I mean, I still think he could do with a slight points drop, but he's horrifically good though. The Nightbringer, to be fair. He's exceptionally powerful, right? So yeah, so maybe I was wrong. Maybe Custodes are that strong. Maybe they are that good. Maybe they are better than I thought. I'm not sure. Emperor's Champions might be the second shield host I get into, but Dread Host is treating me well currently. What's Dread Host? Reroll charges, additional AP -1 at 9 inches? Is that what Dread Host is? Maybe? All the 4+ Feel No Pain stuff are Martial Qatar, so don't get them constantly though. The 4+ Feel No Pain is for being Emperor's Champions grab, so you get it all the time. I mean, it didn't come into play today because Necrons don't do mortal wounds, so hang on. Let me see. Emperor's Chosen. Trait 2. Each summon model in this unit with this trait would lose a wound as a result of a mortal wound. Roll 1d6 on a 4+. That wound's not lost. Yeah, I was right. I thought I was right. Don't lie to me, Crab. Don't lie to me. The Standard Operator. Evening, buddy. Welcome to the stream. Gaz says, haven't you said in the previous stream that Custodians don't really fit on the tabletop in 40k? Pretty sure an ECP question you chose to remove them from 40k. Yeah, Gaz, so from a narrative perspective, the Custodians on 40k tabletops don't really work, in my opinion, because if Custodians were as powerful on the tabletop as they are in the narrative, then at 2,000 points you'd be deploying 3 models. That'd be you. And so when you're deploying 3,000 points and you've got, I don't know, 15 guard and 10 terminators and 5 bikes or whatever, even though that's 25, 30 models max, it's too much for 2,000 points of Custodes. And if they, I mean, I know that they can't make them ridiculous because they would just not play the mission. But if an enemy unit can kill 5 to 10 Custodian Terminators in a turn, that's probably not right narratively. It doesn't work, right? So I stand by that, Gaz, from a narrative perspective only. Custodes probably shouldn't be a tabletop playable army. However, that's not going to happen. They're going to remain a playable army. So it's more about now whether they can fight in a way that I enjoy. And if they can fight in a way that I enjoy, would I get bored of them? And if they fight in a way that I enjoy and they don't get bored of them, can I do okay with them? We'll see. Received from excellent basic stuff from James March today. The Custodian will look immense. Cool. Glad you've been using this stuff. It's amazing. I'm using Custodes for a few months. I don't know about using them constantly for a few months, but I'm going to use them a bit anyway. I want to take a Nightbringer into Tau. Lol. They can suffer the no invulnerable safe stuff as well, right? Did you offer to loan Winters the Space Pixies in return? Yeah, he turned me down. Didn't want his Eldar. It didn't feel like a genuine rejection, though. I'm just saying. I think he kind of wanted to say yes, but thought he should probably keep up the he should probably keep up the facade. Custard grav bikes are grey, super fast, nigh unkillable light infantry slayers.
It's their specific martial Kata, so they can pick it as one of their 3 for the game. When they go into it, they can activate both for a turn.
No, it's not, Crab. 4+ in. I've just read it to you. Don't lie to me. It doesn't matter if you've paid money. You can't lie to me. I've just read it out. Shield host. So they get, as part of their shield host fighting style, they get 2 traits. They get both traits. The martial Qatar that they can pick double is Rendex. Rendex, as a martial Qatar, I didn't use martial Qatars today because they're stupid. But Rendex is the martial Qatar they can use both. If I'm wrong, I'm going to look like a knob right now, but I'm pretty sure I'm not.
Are weak. They will be felled like grass before a lawnmower. How is an army of janitors going to stand up to anyone? Don't engorge their egos.
Martial Qatar, they get Rendex they can use twice. Stance 1 is you get an unmodified 6 automatically wounds the target against vehicles or monster. Stance 2, each time you make a melee attack against a vehicle or monster, if you charge or performed a heroic intervention, you get +1 strength. Their standard shield host fighting stance is trait 1 and trait 2. Trait 1, each time a trait on this unit is selected to shoot or fight, you can reroll 1 hit roll, 1 wound roll, and resolve that unit's attacks. Trait 2, each time a model that unit, this trait would lose a wound as a result of a mortal wound, roll a d6 and a 4+ that wound is not lost. That's their shield host trait, right? That shield host trait means all shield host units within a shield host attachment will gain a shield host fighting style, each of which includes 2 traits. The fighting style they gain depends upon which shield host they are assigned to. Each fighting style also specifies a martial Qatar. Once per battle, when you select that Qatar stance to be active for your army, you can use this ability. If you do so, there you go, I'm right. Alright, cool. Fighting style doesn't activate for a turn. That's not right. You're all wrong. You're all wrong. Stop arguing with me. You're wrong. Trait 1 and Trait 2 of the fighting stances are 2 parts of a chapter tactic. You get both of them. What you can activate...
Fighting style only activate for 1 turn.
No, that's not right. It's not the fighting style. The fighting style is the chapter tactic. You're talking about the martial Qatar. The martial Qatar is different to the fighting style. Listen to me, YouTube. Well, it's nice to meet you on Saturday, Liam. Are you coming to Beachhead? Simon, I'm afraid I am not coming to Beachhead. Because, 1, I was far too late in trying to get a ticket, and secondly, I then booked the weekend up with filming, I'm afraid, so... This sounds like AdMac nonsense, too many rules. It's not too many rules, Ginger Steve, it's super easy, honestly. Custodes data sheets are underpowered in my opinion. It's the combination of strat, shield host and the odd relic that makes them playable and currently outperforming other things. Yeah, I agree with you. Crab got Liam reevaluated his whole life. No, I'm right, Eddie. I know I'm right. I mean, I know I'm right because I fucking play tested, but you know, the whole game is too many rules at the moment. Yeah, Big Red, you're not wrong there. I'll give you that one. He keeps saying guitar, and now all I can think about is Daniel, son, and Mr. Miyagi as Custodes. Maybe people have been playing it wrong. Then this is an interesting chat as well, right? Because Crab's played Custodes, and I don't know whether he thinks maybe there's a lost in translation piece going on right now, right? Maybe there's a lost in translation. So I'm going to show you guys right now what I'm talking about. Let's get to Emperor's Chosen because that's what I'm using. So here is the Emperor's Chosen shield host, okay? They get 2 traits. They get trait 1 and trait 2. That's their fighting style. Their fighting style is a chapter tactic. The chapter tactic they get all the time. They get that all the time. They have a martial guitar that is linked to their fighting style. That martial guitar is here. It says Rendex or Rendax. So Rendax is a specific martial guitar, and that martial guitar, typically when you pick your guitars, you pick 3 guitars in order. You pick a primary, a secondary, and a tertiary. At the point in which you start the game, the first battle round, you go into your primary martial guitar and you pick a stance. Stance 1 or stance 2. You can't go backwards, but each time you go through the next turn, you can pick a next stance or you can move on to the next guitar. Okay? With Rendax, because they are Emperor's Chosen, at one point when they use a martial guitar for Rendax, they can choose to use both traits for that martial guitar. That's the bit they can use both of. They always get a 4-up feel no pain against mortal wounds if they're Emperor's Chosen. Always. Flat. Every unit always gets to reroll a hit and a wound roll. So if you guys have been playing it that you only get half of that, you've been playing it wrong. Born to lose, live to win. Are your Custodes borrowed? They are borrowed. It's not also though. They are the only thing that's borrowed. All right. You keep saying, yeah, I've read that already. Simon Shepard, that's fair enough. Yeah, mate. Look, the next one, count me in. I'll get there if I can get there in the next one. That sounds good. Can I choose bass guitar? Yes, Sarah Disco Dolly, you can absolutely choose that one. That's 100% right. Warboiler, no, he's right. I just read the code. I'm glad you checked the codex. Didn't just take my word for it. I appreciate that. Emperor's Chosen seems strong with that strat. Squidly, I think they're the strongest with that strat. I genuinely believe that because of that strat, that makes them the strongest. Honestly. I believe you, Liam, ban these fools. Can we go back to 8th edition rules and more fun? Shadowkeepers and Emperor's Chosen top 2 shield hosts. Agree, standard operator. 100% agree. Having the shield host traits gives me access to the special guitar if I want it, but I get IP4 Guardian Spears throughout the game. Yeah, absolutely. My Noise Marine has a guitar.
I have a lot of guitar at the moment. I had the Rona and I have a cough still. How do I make my guitar make me fight better? Cough on the opponent?
You got the Rona again, didn't you, Steve? I thought you got rid of it. The Emperor's Chosen strat lets you pick a different fighting style for a unit. It's really strong. It is really strong. It's really good. Kronos celebrating being a member for 2 months. It's Monday, right? It is Monday, mate. It's bonus stream. Luce went to bed not feeling 100%. And I was like, well, what am I going to do? Stream? Why not? Because I'm a super chat whore. That's why. Shield Captain, show me wax on, wax off. Brilliant. Need some Beechams to shift those. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, using the Emperor's Chosen to use Shadowkeepers -1 attack. Yeah, it's really good. Like I said, you can with Emperor's Chosen, you can ram a unit of jet bikes home pretty hard, and then you can comfortably change their fighting stance, fall back, and charge again. That's what this is. I mean, this is what I'm saying. I agree with what Standard Operator said, that Emperor's Chosen and Shadowkeepers are the strongest 2. Definitely agree. But I still think that if I had to pick a single one every time, I'm always picking Emperor's Chosen. Always picking Emperor's Chosen, because it just gives me that flexibility. Will there be a stream tomorrow, Gaz? Yeah, there will be. I don't have the Rona, but the cough stays. Oh, well, you know. Tough. Yeah, guys, I'll be a stream tomorrow, and a stream on Wednesday, and a stream on Friday. Don't you worry. Got your back. Many streams. Mate, something's got to keep the lights on, so I've got to keep streaming. Don't you worry. But yeah, like I said, that's why I think the Emperor's Chosen is so strong. That one stratagem, that one strat that they have, that one CP, is so good to be able to pick another fighting stance and get both traits for that fighting stance. Both traits, Crab. Both traits, I'm just saying. it's just super sad. You didn't have to spend money to apologise. I'll let you off. It's fine. We're friends. It's okay. It's okay. Grab. You don't have to feel guilty. It's not a problem. But although I've just massively improved your Custodes, right? I've just massively improved your Custodes. So.
Well, I've been playing that wrong in all my games. Sorry about that, man facepalming.
Which one were you using? Were you using Emperor's Chosen? Please tell me you haven't suffered loads of mortal wounds that you could have a 4+ against. That's not good for you, mate, is it? To be fair. You poor bastard. You poor bastard. I've built my list around Shadowkeepers, but slowly being sold on Emperor's Chosen after seeing people use it to bring so many options and buff units. It's just... So to be clear, I genuinely think Shadowkeepers is very, very good. There's a couple of things that they have which is very good. That -1 attack on everything is amazing. The Warlord trait, where you can ignore invulnerable saves against characters, is really good. I think Shadowkeepers is a really nice pick. Genuinely think it's a really nice pick. It's just the versatility that Emperor's Chosen brings, which makes him so insanely powerful. Shadowkeepers would have made a difference at that GT. You did well as well, didn't you, George? Where did you come? Where's Shadowkeepers? Shadowkeepers. What do they get? I know they get -1 attack. And you can reroll wounds against characters. And Captaris is it? Yeah, that probably would have made a difference. You can have a fun game with the Custodes where your opponent enjoy the game too. See, that's an interesting question, Gaz, right? That's an interesting question because... and the reason why it's an interesting question, right, is because when you talk to people about games that they have fun against or games that they enjoy playing, often we find that people enjoy playing something like Orcs, for example, right? Because playing Orcs, you get to kill lots of models. I say that unless it's buggy spam. Or playing Tyranids with bugs because you get to kill lots of models. And people like killing lots of models and taking models off and lots of interactivity with their opponent. Custodes, there is the opportunity to have a couple of real feel bads moments where you plow everything you've got into a unit of Terminators and they still stand there with their middle finger up and say, no, fuck you, right? So it depends on how your opponent views that. If he loves the fact that he's plowed his whole army in and the one Terminator's going, nope, not dying, he could enjoy that. If he hates the fact that he's shot his whole army and nothing's died, he doesn't see the custodian narrative there, then there is a chance that is a not fun moment for your opponent. So it's hard, right? It's hard to genuinely give you an answer as to whether they would or wouldn't enjoy that. So you were fourth that GT by a point, and having both traits of your Shadowkeepers would have definitely made a difference. So you could have podiumed. Oh dear, mate. Well, you have to come back then, wouldn't you? Love the idea of Shadowkeepers, turn off invuln and choose a unit to fight last. Yeah, absolutely. I do like that as well. I've been painting so much over the last month that I've had to start seeing a chiropractor. What is this hobby doing to me? Eddie, I found a picture of you. Did you see it in Discord? I was on Google today and it just popped up and I saw a picture of Eddie on Discord. Here's Eddie, look. Is it going to focus on him? It's not having it, is it? There you go, there's Eddie. It's Eddie on stream. See? Like that. Looks like that. Just spit an image of him. I'm addicted to plastic. Stop sending me the Custodes. Luckily for you, Holopan, low model count. Cheaper to buy, right? Low model count. I surrounded a Custodian guard and beat him to death with 10 Necron warriors. That was pretty fun. That sounds cool. That's really good. I think Drakari could probably have Custodes for breakfast and lunch. Drakari currently Big Red, to be honest with you. I think they can have everybody, to be fair. That's the problem, isn't it? I think they could probably take everyone on. In the lore, Custodes are super warriors. How much should the lore be reflected on the table without being AP? Ian, that's the problem, right? You could legitimately make them directly reflect on the tabletop what they reflect in the lore, but they wouldn't be able to play the mission then. That's the thing. You could make each Custodian ridiculous levels of power and resilience, like they kind of are, but then they wouldn't reflect truly what's going on, or they truly wouldn't reflect. They might truly reflect the lore, sorry, but they wouldn't be able to play the missions at all, because you wouldn't have enough to hold 4 objectives or 3 objectives, right? So I've picked the Shadow Keepers. I just love the idea of hunting down monsters, characters plus relics and then locking them in vaults called the Dark Silk Cells. You have to remember as well, right, that although you can change fighting stance of the Emperor's Chosen with their strat, you only get the fighting stance. What you don't get is access to the stratagems. Shadow Keepers are still very, very, very good. -1 attack to everything in engagement range is good. And Warlord trait that means that you ignore invulnerable saves against characters is good. And a single command point to mean that your -1 strength against my infantry is very, very good. They're still a really solid choice. I just think Emperor's Chosen has better versatility, but Shadow Keepers are still really, really good. Jakey from VT, he personally believes Shadow Keepers are still the best. He reckons they're better, but you know, that's a bit mean, Ginger Steve. No, it's not. Just prime 2 minis. Really should have done it outside. Surprised you spotted me in that picture, Liam. Brilliant, Eddie. Brilliant. Luce and I then instantly went on Google to see if we could find a 28mm scale version of Where's Wally, little one like that, right? So I could paint him up. And what we were going to do is every Wednesday stream from then on, we were going to play Where's Eddie with the stream. So if you know how to make a 28mm Where's Wally figure and print it, please get in touch so we can start playing Where's Eddie every Wednesday. Please tell me if you know how to do that, because that would be absolutely incredible. Shadow Keepers came second at the LVO, no Emperor's Chosen. Interesting. I still think Emperor's Chosen is stronger. In the long run, it's not too hard when concentrating on characters. I'm avoiding Poxwalkers. Yeah, fair enough. You're painting your Death Guard, aren't you? Peter, good man. Good man. How do you feel about the fact that 9th edition is almost exclusively all about holding objectives? Do you wish there were ways to play the games? Yes. Yes. One of the things we spoke about this on Winter's stream earlier, and I stand by this. One of the things I've loved over the course of the last month since I've become full-time with this is I've stopped. So when we were streaming before I came full-time, I was just playing match play. Super easy, just grabbed the mission and chapter proof, played it. Now I've gone full-time, I've stopped looking at match play, started looking at other ways of playing 40k. So last week we trialled Maelstrom of War, as you guys probably saw. I've started using a lot more of the open war cards as well. And I'm definitely enjoying that experience, Christian, to be honest with you. So sometimes having to not worry about objectives, sometimes just having to fight each other is genuinely enjoyable. Not having to... I was saying this to Jake. Jakey and I filmed for DZ on Sunday. So on Sunday we filmed Craftworld Eldar versus Genestealer Cults. That's going live on deploymentzone.tv tomorrow. If you want to check it out, ! DZTV in the chat, you'll get a 7-day free trial. So we filmed that yesterday, and one of the things that I said to Jakey that I really, really liked, we played Open War, and we picked the mission, well, Jakey picked the mission out because he's never played Open War before, and the specific objective he picked was Domination. Domination in Open War is basically old ITC hold more, kill more. So at the end of the battle round, the player who holds more objectives scores a victory point, and the player that killed more units scores a victory point. Okay, so we played that. And one of the reasons why I love that mission so much is because I don't have to have a fucking unit stood in the corner retrieving Nachman data. I hate that shit. I hate that kind of stuff. It's one thing, in seriousness, it's one thing to have to do mental interrogation with a psyker who's chasing a character down. I'm kind of okay with that as a psychic action. Doesn't stop me from shooting, doesn't stop me from doing other things, right? I cannot fucking stand something like Retrieve Octarius or Retrieve Nachman data. I take it a lot in tournaments because, especially when it was Retrieve Octarius data, because it was almost one of those points where I could almost guarantee getting 12 points. So competitively, I get it. For a battle report or a stream, I fucking hate it. Here's my unit who's going to do nothing. He's going to retrieve some data. I dread to think how much data we retrieve from Octarius. We must know everything about Octarius right now. Because every fucking man and his mum was taking Retrieve Octarius data. Prince Vault and Hawkless, and I just found a Wally Waldo on Etsy. Is it 28mm scale? This is the questions we need. If it's 28mm scale, you need to send me the link. And is it UK? Or we're going to have to pay £500 import tax from America. So yeah, I hate the situations, Christian, in 9th edition where you have expensive. This is the thing that I was. Also, this sort of directly links into my thoughts around Custodes, right? You don't want to be doing retrieve Nachman data with custodians, do you? You don't get 10-man units, you know? You get 3-man units, and it doesn't matter that they count as 6 for OBSEC. They don't count as 6 for retrieve Nachman. Look, Soul's Fund and STL. Oh, this is getting exciting, Eddie. We might be able to play. We actually might be able to play Where's Eddie every week. I definitely want to play Where's Eddie? Custodes versus Custodes Blood Games campaign. That could be cool. That could be a really cool idea, couldn't it? For a series. Or would it be super boring because it's just Custodes versus Custodes? Gaz has WhatsApped me. Hang on. Hang on, we're in. We're in. Where's Gaz? How big's he, Gaz? And can you print him and send him to me? Because that's amazing.
Custodes v Custodes Blood Games campaign?
That's
Laughing
great.
face.
Gaz, if that's 28mm scale print, you just after a 28mm scale print at all then can do a resin one if I can find the file. It looks like Gaz might have found one. I don't know if I can show. Oh, I'm not going to bother with the focusing right now. I just want to play Where's Eddie. I just want a Where's Eddie figure that I can paint up, or someone will paint up for me before they send it. Maybe I'm just saying, where I could put him anywhere in the background on the stream or on the table or whatever. All right, how cool would that be? Where's Eddie? You're up for that, Eddie, right? Not going to get offended, are you? Good. If secondaries or normal objectives are not challenging, what's the point of having them? E.g., both players would easily score 20 points, so cancel each other out. Ian, I agree with you. Absolutely. I just don't like the whole. I don't like the interactivity of certain secondaries. A secondary should be all objectives should be a challenge. I've rescaled them to 28mm and can print and send. Gaz, you're a hero. Admit it, you just want to use Eddie as basic material. No, I don't. I want to use actual Eddie for Where's Eddie. If you guys can send me 28mm Where's Wallies, that's going to be fucking amazing, and I love you all forever. Legends. Thank you. Thank you, people. Thank you so much. I want that avatar so damn much. Son of Olympia, me too. You do stream gallery. Why? Every time, even if it's not an actual scheduled stream, you lot want fucking stream gallery. Don't you? You're so greedy. You're so greedy. Saves me a 2-hour drive. No, you still need to come and hang out sometime soon to play. Well, they said you can come and hang out. We could do some content on Friday, and then you decided you go to fucking Beachhead instead, didn't you? So, you know. Bad priorities, Eddie. Bad priorities. Tomorrow, I have to paint some Hobbypocalypse stuff, and I don't want to do it. I don't want to paint my Dreadnought. The full version looks like this paint. Did you WhatsApp me again, Gaz? No, not yet. I don't want to paint my Apocalypse, but I have to be honest with you. Svagna Moss, thank you for being a member for 2 months, you absolute hero. What a legend. We're also over halfway to the membership goal for this month as well. 12 to go before we hit the February membership goal, and we're on the 7th. You lot are amazing. Thank you so much. Yeah, I've mugged you right off. Sorry, mate. You have, Eddie, to be fair, but I'll let you off. It's Beachhead, right? Beachhead's going to be special. They want the gallery so they can show off to everyone and watch you tell them to fuck off. Give us something baller to look at the top. Give us something better to look at than the top knot. Peter, that's not very nice, is it? I think you might have to do a stream just for Stream Gallery. We did Stream Gallery on Friday. We did it on Friday's Beer and Banter stream. Okay. I hate how secondary score, end of battle round, end of command phase, and end of game, etc. It makes it too tedious to keep track of the score and all your army rules. The other thing as well is, right, so Son of Olympia, I don't disagree with you, but the other thing, but I have to take a fucking board with me so I can keep track of the score. A lot of people do this, right? They have little whiteboards and stuff. And if you have to take that sort of whiteboard to keep track of the score, then it's pretty admin tedious anyway, right? However, the one thing that I don't like is there's still a number of secondaries in the book that specifically states you score them at the end of your next command phase. Now, the thing is, right, no one ever takes those because they're shit. So, why? I don't understand. in this new chapter approved, they had a chance to go, right, we've worked out that any action or whatever that someone has to do, that they're complete at the end of the next command phase, they don't take it because it's just because your opponent goes, cool, I'm just going to kill you for that objective and you don't score any points. That's why they take retrieve Oxaris data and things like that. So what they had opportunity to do so much more reworking of the objectives, the secondary objectives, and they didn't do it, and that really disappointed me, to be honest with you. I'll drop you a membership when I get paid on Friday. No false promises. Oh, mate, you don't have. I appreciate it, standard operator. I genuinely, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. You don't have to, but I appreciate it. You can also become a DZTV member if you want to. Instead, it gets you more content too, right? Dropped my fucking Redemptor Dreddy last night. Nearly finished painting it too. Fucking fuck sticks. That sounds horrendous. Born to lose, live to win. Really. That sounds awful. Finally, after 3.5 months, my 5 boxes of Steel Legion are on their way. Jesus, you waited long enough. Not to be a knob, but you make anything versus anything fun to watch. Why does that make you a knob? That makes you a nice person. Oh, Gaz has sent me a link. That's amazing. Hang on. Is this the painted version, Gaz? That's incredible. That's quality. What a fucking hero. That's the right sort of... I just have to put him on a 25 or 32mm base. And then we can... we can play Where's Eddie? Amazing. Amazing. You can't even see a top knot at the moment. Stop taking a piss of my hair. Right. Took me ages to grey this out. Okay. Think you may need to dedicate a stream only for Stream Galley just to get everyone off your back. Nah. Fuck 'em. How will you select the correct orange for Where Eddie's skin tone? I've got it. Troll Slayer orange already, guys. Don't you worry. Go through the general voice chat from last night from 10 onwards. Why? That sounds awful. I'll DM you his pick. It's a compliment. What's a compliment? What pick are you DMing me? Ginger Steve. Would it be better to roll for who goes first each battle round? So they kind of do it in Age of Sigmar, and I don't know if that's... I don't think I like that. To be honest with you, imagine if you play, let's say you play a melee army versus Tau, okay, just for sake of argument, right? So you're lucky enough with your melee army that you get first turn against Tau, so you start to move up the board. You get up to the board and you know, right, I've got to weather 1 turn of firepower, and then I might actually be able to make the charge and get into combat, okay? Then the Tau goes and shoots everything, and you get nailed. And then the next battle round, you have to roll to see who goes first. The Tau player then gets first turn. So you get a double shooting phase in your face after winning the first roll-off before you then get to charge.
I'm finally here, and Custodes are up.
Umbra, I'm sorry to break this to you, but because you're a Chaos Space Marine player, everything seems OP right now. Everything seems OP right now. So, sorry, mate. Sphagnum, I don't like the idea of double turns. There is a cool mechanic in bolt action which I really like, but it will slow the games down, and they already sometimes struggle to happen within 2 to 3 hours. So what bolt actions do is you get like, so say you've got 2 armies, you'll get a set of green dice and a set of grey dice. You chuck them both in the bag, shake the bag up, and then you alternate activations, not alternate turns. So a player puts his hand in and pulls a dice out. He's got one of his green dice. Cool. He moves one of his unit. He puts his hand in and pulls a dice out. He's got a green dice. He moves another one of his units. He puts his hand in and pulls a dice out. He's got a grey dice. His opponent gets to do a unit. And that doing a unit is activating the unit, which could be a move or shoot or whatever. Now, I'm not saying we go down the route of having the whole bolt action gaming system, because that's bolt action. This is 40k. But if you're going to do alternate action, if you're going to do alternate activations, fuck me. If you're going to do alternate activations, that's the way to do it. Double turning, I don't like, and it's one of the only things I've heard that people don't like about Age of Sigmar is double turning. So, Christian O'Neill, you could print a squat and play Where's Jakey? Well, the thing is, if I played that on stream, no one would ever find it.
There's a CSM codex in the new box set, right?
That was a low blow, Gaz. That was a low blow. I'm doing preemptive guess at where Eddie will be. He's going to be hidden in the bob knot. You actually got me to read it out, you fucker. Custodes players will talk about the disadvantage when going into DG, etc. with -1 damage, but their -1 attack, Shadow Keepers are turning off reroll strat can be equally as devastating versus some armies. Yeah, see, this is interesting, Sandman, because I basically was talking about the fact that I thought the Custodians were average to good. They were okay because of their low numbers and because of, with the exception of the bikes, their slow speed, that they perhaps struggled to do the primary missions on match play. But yeah, I've been proven categorically wrong because I've been performing everywhere quite well, it seems. I did see them in Crusher Stampede matchup and they struggled. So I still think some of that stands. Like, those matchups are tough, right? Death Guard, Crusher Stampede, etc. But the overall army kind of, not mechanic, but synergy. Synergy is really, really good, right? Really, really, really good. So, because the synergy is so good and there's so much you can do, I still think that they're pretty good now, and I think I've been proved wrong, to be honest with you. Where are we? Screwing Voidsman and the new hotness for Custodes got to be gobbers to do boring stuff. Voidsman? What's Voidsman? Have I missed something there? Take out the top knot and put a centre parting in for the next stream, please. No. When is Paddy coming back with Thousand Suns to give you another spanking? Hopefully soon. Hopefully soon. I'm trying to get him back in to film another game for DZ soon. Stream this week on stream, I've got Winters. Next week on stream, I think Jakey's coming back. And the week after, I'm either going to ask Eddie or Paddy to come and have fun. It depends if Paddy's still here or if he's somewhere else, because he might be somewhere else at that point. But yeah, his Thousand Suns are beautiful. Can't wait to have them back on. I want him to bring his Thousand Suns back now that I've got my I've got Winters' Custodes, because that'd be hilarious. Tal Drones got 2 wins before CSM did. Liam, honestly, please. If you didn't have such a good name, I'd get rid of you. Double turn and AOS sucks. Yeah, Natesy. Exactly. Sounds like you have it sorted. It looks like we've got it sorted, Matt. Possibly. That's what I love about bot action. Is it? I'm glad you love it too. Do you play bot action? Honestly? I think I'll get Plastic Perturaba before we get new space Chaos Space Marine Codex. That's fucking horrendous. Don't do that.
I also play Tau and still consider Custodes up.
Oh. Well, you haven't got a leg to stand on. If you play new Tau, you can't call Custodes OP. Just saying. Just saying. Trajan is OP on too many levels. Trajan is mental and he went down in points. What crackhead took 10 points off of his cost and went, yeah, he probably needs to be a bit cheaper. Probably should be cheaper. That was mental crap, right? He should not have gone down in points at all. Alternate playing Necromunda, you activate a fighter, Oppo activates, or you can group activate 2 or 3 fighters. Never played Necromunda. Heard it's a good game. Got to head off. I will look at the file this weekend, get the supports done, and should have it printed to you by the weekend. I still need that Krieg banner. Like, oh fuck, it's in a box. At some point, guys. Thank God, Jakey, to rescue us from Winters. You're going to get Kirioth on at some point. I'd love to get Kirioth on the channel at some point, but it's probably too hard for him to do a stream, simply because we do them on Wednesday nights. But yeah, I'll actually have an army I can run next time I'm down, Liam. So you can bring your Crons, Eddie, couldn't you? Art of War guys ran Voidsman in their Custodes armies for LVO for mission obs. What's Voidsman? What is Voidsman? Voidsman at Arms are agents of Imperium from Blackstone Fortress, if I remember correctly. Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Interesting. Does that not break the Custodes, though? If it's not a pure Custodes attachment, don't they lose things? They lose martial Katars, right? Trajan is an auto, 170 laughing or yeah. Trajan's an auto take right now, in my opinion, right? Yeah, mate, used to play bolt action all the time until my only gaming bud met his lass and became a pussy-whipped bitch. What a lovely way to talk about your gaming, mate. That sounds incredible. Talk, is Solar Watch right to play? Solar Watch is incredible to play. Depending on what you're trying to... Against or with, Talk, I assume you're saying with. Depending on what your build is, Solar Watch is very, 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 very good. Because you can fall out and charge, that's nice. Because if you can fall back and charge... So basically... Your turn you charge, you fight first because you've charged, depending on your opponent, obviously. Next turn, it's their turn, so you fight first. Your turn, you can fall back, charge back in, that's nice. The other bonus is with you're within 9 inches with Solar Watch, you get an additional AP on your weapons. Hurricane Bolters on bikes become AP -1, that's really powerful. The Guardian Spears and the Custodian Axes will become AP -2, that's really powerful. So Solar, I think Solar Watch is really good. I like Solar. To be fair, I don't think there's a bad shield host, but I really like Solar Watch. How is he only 160 points? I know, Crab, yeah. As others have said, I'm playing Necromunda more than 40k now. That's interesting. Agents of the Imperium don't break faction rules, e.g. Collects Assassins don't break counter calls for Abmech. That's interesting. That's interesting. They can take a dog which causes mortal wounds. Oh my lord. Voidsmen don't break and they are 5 man for 40 points. That's mental. That's mental. I think they are unaligned so they don't count. Interesting. I thought Imperial Agents rules meant they don't affect the detachment bonus rules. Looks like I was wrong. Absolutely. The same as in Inquisitor and Assassins. As long as you only take one in the detachment, you don't lose your army detachment abilities. That's madness, right? Because you can use them for actions and stuff as well. That's insane. I don't want to do that. I don't want to... I want to play with Custodes. So I want to... Here's the thing I want to do now, people. I want to get good with Custodes. And I want to play Custodes regularly enough to get good with Custodes. I want to take them to an event and do okay with them. However, here's some caveats, okay? I don't want to take any of that Agents of Imperium nonsense. And I don't want to take any Sisters of Silence. I love Sisters of Silence, right, to be clear. But I don't want to take them. Because I think that I would be tempted to use them as action units. I don't want to use them as action units. I want to use them as... I want to use an army as a cohesive fighting force. So... I think I want to try and take it as pure Custodes. No sisters, no agents, none of that stuff. Just pure Custodes. And I think that could be really fun. Maybe. Possibly. So it'd be interesting to do that. I know how to play my Eldar. I know how to play my Chaos. So this just gives me a new challenge, and perhaps I could take you guys on that journey with me. It also gives me another army that I can use in streams and battle reports, as well as the Eldar, the Chaos, the Harlequins, etc. So that's super cool as well. Very kind of Witness to lend it, but hey. Dave B says, "Hey, I can't keep up with you. With what, mate? What are you trying to keep up with?" I've been using a Custodes recently. Definitely hurts to make someone spend extra CP on the assassin. That's quite good. Transhuman, yeah. Do you not want a cheap sisters unit for objectives? No, I don't want to. I'd want to use them at all. I want to just Custodes. They are bomb dogs in bolt action. Russian army. They cause mortal wounds to tanks. Interesting. That sounds amazing. Bomb dogs. Although I couldn't do it to a dog. I like Emperor's Chosen. Their strat lets them make a unit another host, so your bikers could be Solar Watch for as good as... Yeah, we were talking about that, right? That's one of the things that I think is what makes me think that Emperor's Chosen is going to turn out to be eventually the strongest one and the one that's used the most because of that. Easy army to paint too, because it matching. You can't talk about easy armies to paint. Just because you're exceptional at painting doesn't mean that you can just call armies good and easy to paint, right? So the Flame Assisters are quite good against chaff, which fills a gap for Custodes. See, I think... Here's another unpopular opinion, and there's a few Custodes players in the chat, so I'm waiting for them all to shout at me as well. I had this discussion at the weekend at the RTT. For me personally, jet bikes and Custodes units still need hurricane bolters and not salvo launchers. Because it fills that gap that you're talking about, Liam, right? I don't know how I missed this, but having 36 shots out of 3 bikes with the hurricane bolters in rapid fire range, it hits that hit on 2s is mental. And if you make them Solar Watch, like we're talking about, because you want that fallback and charge, they also get an AP -1 bonus if they're within 9 inches. Like, that's fucking crazy good. You know, that's an amazing amount of horde killing. If you think ploughing that into lots of toughness 3 Gribblies, you're just going to kill most of them, right? Crab, it's fun and simple enough, so no event burnout at the end of it. I've just never used an army like this before. I just think it'd be fun. I think it'd be interesting, it'd be fun, it'd be different. They were surprisingly good. When I used them today, they were surprisingly effective in places I didn't think they would be. I'm not going to spoil the game for you, and it goes right towards the end, that game. So you need to check that. If you want to check that out, it's out on DZTV next week. But, you know, I was surprised by some of what they could do. And I'd skimmed the strats, and I remembered a few of the strats that they can do. They've got some crazy things as well, like being able to interrupt for a single command point if you're within range of an objective marker. It is mad. It also means you can still spend another 2 command points to interrupt. So with 3 CP, you can interrupt twice. Fucking mental.
Do Factorum events allow legends?
I don't know what the current rules are, Paul, but DZTV are taking on all Factorum events. I say all Factorum events, that's a lie. That makes it sound like we're taking all their events. DZTV are taking all of the Factorum 40k GTs on. Basically, the new person in charge of all of the Factorum GTs and the decision making is this guy. So I'll be writing the rules. So I'll speak to them about what they have currently. I'll speak to them about what their thoughts are currently. And depending on what their thoughts are currently, I may decide what... The thing is with Legends is I want to allow Legends because I want to allow anybody to bring any models that they have and that they want to bring. However, that being said, I have a concern about Legends simply because they don't get FAQ'd, they don't get kept up to date. So there is a degree of... what's the word I'm looking for? There's a degree of potential, I guess, for jank. Okay, so I think depending on the legend unit that you want to bring would depend on. I'd have to look at the rules, read. So if you've got the request in early enough, I'd probably have to look at the rules, see the interactions, and go, actually, we're okay with that one. That's fine. Or we need to do an impromptu FAQ for it so that it can work. I don't know. I'm not sure. Michael M, welcome. Thank you for just subscribing, you absolute hero. Custodes are easy to paint and quick if you learn the rub and buff gold secret. What's this gold secret Michael's talking about? You can't just drop into chat, sub, and drop that and go. What's this rub and gold? That sounds interesting. It's a tough choice for me between bolters and salvo launchers. Interesting. I love the idea of playing Hero Hammer with Custodes. Yeah, good. Matt Chin, Custodes are an easy army to paint unless you choose Solar Watch and paint white and gold. Nah, choose Solar Watch and then use contrast white. Job's a good one. I'd just like to say how proud I am of my 9-year-old daughter. Off her own bat, she had 20-inch of her blonde hair cut off to donate to children with cancer. She's got this funky bob going on. Bless her, Dave. What an absolute hero. Tell her that we all think she's amazing. All right, what an absolute legend. They're only model dogs. Doesn't matter. Don't kill the dogs. Stop it. Yes, Hurricane Bolts for the chaff, light infantry, then combat for anything harder or vehicles, absolutely. Hurricane Bolts are still good in my opinion. Blade Champ chews up hordes with Peerless Warrior. I see the Blade Champ, is he worth it? Don't tell me he's worth it. I've already given him to Tywin, I would have kept him otherwise. Hopefully, Paul, as I'm going. How will Custodes do versus Tau? Probably badly. Well, I don't know. Tanglefoot Grenade is a great way to stop deep strikers. Tanglefoot Grenade is amazing. A worthy cause, says Matt the Hat. Yeah, absolutely. Dave B, what a legend your daughter is. Be very proud, actually. So, does the Radiant Mantle even work on the Blade Champ with the Consummate Swordsman? The only hit on 5s is not true, right? I don't know. I don't know. I'll have to look at that, how that works and how that interacts. Be interesting. On Winter's stream, you said you wanted a Wolves Force. The question is, though, you going to go with the powdered blue or stormy grey when you paint them? I'm not painting them. Don't have imagination to paint them, and they're going to be told to go stormy grey, Prince Fulton. Stormy grey, definitely. He said it, rub and buff. That's the secret. Can we see a Genes to the Cult game on Deployment Zone? Coming up tomorrow, Sam. Oh, look at that. Coming up tomorrow is Craftworld Elva versus Genes to the Cult. Me versus Jake from Vanguard Tactics. So, you know. I need to look at this Radiant Mantle and the Blade Champion interaction now. It's interesting because a lot of people are talking about it. And I didn't know he could only be hit on 5 to start with. Flaming Sword. Don't know why I look at you want to play Skyrim. Wait, is that a compliment or not? Blade Champion. Consummate Swordsman. Each time a melee attack is made against a model, and a hit roll of 1 to 3 always fails. Each time a melee attack is allocated to this model, add 1 to the armor saving throw. So are we asking that... That's interesting. So I would say Radiant Mantle would work with him, strictly. Radiant Mantle is -1 to hit, isn't it? Right? So you roll your dice and you get the result of a 3. -1 becomes a 4. You hit. You roll your dice result, you get a 2. -1 becomes a 3. You miss because a 1 to a 3 always fails. Roll your dice, you get a 4. -1. It's the other way around, isn't it? -1 becomes a 3. I reckon it works, to be honest with you. I reckon it works.
4 months to go for my 24-month red beard.
Wow, that's impressive. 20 months as a member. Son of Olympia, what a fucking legend. Absolute legends to Sam Hill. There you go, mate. Giving the people what they want. Told you. My Blade Champion killed a unit of Blade Guard vets on his own in 1 round of stabbing. That's impressive. I would play Skyrim, but I took an arrow to the knee. It doesn't stack. Mike Holmes says it doesn't stack. Interesting. Why not? You drove home from Winters and did your own live chat. Got to give the people what they want, Jasper. That's what I'm saying. Right? Is that new Eldar? No, it's not a new Eldar. I wouldn't be able to talk about it if it was. Because, you know, NDAs and stuff. However, I have been frantically building new Eldar, i.e. new Autarch, back here over the course of the last few weeks. And new Rangers. These things, by the way, are absolutely fucking gorgeous. Amazing models. So pretty. The bomb dog thing was a real thing in World War II. You train the dogs by feeding them under tanks. Problem was they used their own tanks to train them. You can guess what happened. Yeah, I've heard that story. Oh wow, you drove. Yeah, I've done that. Maths is hard, lads. It's not. Is it not unmodified hit roll? After all the talk about Shadowkeepers and Emperor's Shield, Emperor's Trojan, the argument for Shadowkeepers are that the relic of the Warlord trait. They are god tier. Fight last and ignore invades. They are god tier, absolutely. Isn't it before modifiers? Okay, I don't know. Mr. Show, did we conclude that Custodes are stupid broken and the strats need to actually cost CP? The strats do cost CP if you go for more than 3-man units. The problem is you don't need to go for more than 3-man units, Josh. I don't think Custodes are stupid broken. I think they're A tier. I don't think they're S tier. I think there's too many. If you went to an event and the first 3 games you played with Death Guard, Crusher Stampede, and Drakari, you're probably losing 3 games. So they're not S tier, right? So I don't think they're crazy broken, but I do think they're very strong. It would be a 5+ to hit if your weapon skill is 4+. Yeah. Unmodified hit rolls of 1 to 3 flight. Oh, this is unmodified. Is it unmodified? Okay, there you go. Interesting. The new Corsairs have me buying 2. But if an unmodified hit roll of a 1, 2, or 3 always fails. So if a okay. Hear me out here, people. If an unmodified hit roll of a 1, 2, or 3 always fails, but you're being targeted by a unit that has a ballistic skill of 4+, right? And then it has the Radiant Mantle, and then you roll, and your 4+ becomes a 3, although because of the unmodified hit roll rule that he has it doesn't fail, it doesn't make a difference. Because the unit shooting it has a ballistic skill of 4+, it then fails. So they don't stack, but you can use them both. Yeah? Does that make sense, chat? You following me? So the time in which it would be effective is you're being targeted by a unit with a 4+ ballistic skill and they roll a bunch of 4s, because then they would count as misses because of the Radiant Mantle. So you can use them. So Radiant Mantle then protects you against anything ballistic skill 2+ and 3+, and no, sorry, not Radiant Mantle. The his inbuilt ability will protect you against anything 2+ and 3+. Radiant Mantle then protects you against 4+. Right? I'm fine if Custodes can be balanced after. Balanced A tier. Yeah, they are at A tier. I think they're A tier. Lost It 462. Welcome to the channel. Thank you so much for becoming a member. You absolute legend. Pushing us up to 19th of February. Either new members or upgrades. Thank you so much. You're an absolute fucking hero. Make sure you get yourself in Discord as well. Thank you. The new Corsairs have me buying 2 Kill Team kits, and I don't play Kill Team. They're pretty though, right? Corsair models are amazing. Have you seen the new post on the avatar, and what are your thoughts? I don't know which post you're on about. I haven't looked yet. Yeah, I've just been at Winters all day. I like the Rangers. I could be tempted to get Eldar. Still think the name Farseer Winters has mileage. It does, absolutely. It's all about unmodified dice rolls. Yeah, but they're 2 different interactions, Tim. This is what we're saying, right? What tier is Tau? Tau are probably A as well. I think. possibly. I think they do stack their different rules. Yeah, Balrog, that's what I mean. So they don't stack strictly, but you can use them in conjunction. I think when they're S tier, it's an all Custodes meta. Yeah, absolutely. What's S? Shit or super? Super. It goes S, A, B, C for some reason. I don't know why. How did Genestealer Cult deal with Custodes? Or perhaps a better question, as a Custodes player, what would you be scared of looking at an enemy Genestealer Cult list? Genestealer Cults actually have a lot of tools for dealing with Custodes, to be honest with you. It depends a little bit on what shield host they are, but there's a lot of ways of doing mortal wounds with Genestealer Cults. There's lots of AP -4 flat free damage stuff that exists. The rock cutters and the rock drills are all pretty good. The seismic cannons are all pretty good. Genestealers are still nasty because a high number of attacks. Strength 5 means they're winning Custodes on 4s, which is actually pretty tasty. And they hit on 2s, the Genestealers, and they're super fast. They get across the table really, really quickly. So I there's a lot of threat in a Genestealer Cult list. To be fair, there's a lot. The Patriarch could do some work. Pistol Pete, whatever his name is, the crazy dude with the pistols. He can be like, he can get a pistol that's strength 6, even -3 damage, and then hits do extra hits. It's madness, absolutely madness. +1 to wound doesn't work against transhuman, right? No, +1 to wound doesn't work against transhuman, but again, separate interactions, right? Bateman has subscribed. Thank you so much, Bateman, for subscribing to the channel. I don't know if you've commented yet. I haven't looked. Plus, sounds right. I thought the hit roll modifier stack whilst you do the math, you could result in a +1. In minus or +1. Yeah, but so that, like I said, we're not stacking them. They're different. I agree. Just to balance them at A tier, so they don't have to be nerfed, and then bring the OP shit down, Drakari and Utao down to their level would be perfect meta. Force agree. Welcome, come say hey in Discord. Absolutely. The Corsair hair though, it's like they're bringing the worst of the East. It's amazing, Crypt Shadow. Beating Custodes as a melee army is basically down to, does your opponent understand their strats? If they do, you are fighting such an uphill battle. It's boring. Is it boring? Do you find it boring, Josh? That's interesting. The updated stats on the community. I haven't looked yet, Craftford, so I'll have to have a look before tomorrow. Wardens are a bit broke. So Wardens are mental, Crab, right? Because Bodyguard, that's what makes them mental. Bodyguard is fucking stupid in any army, to be fair. If they are hitting on 2, they need a 4+. If they are hitting on 3, they need a 4+. If they've hit on 4, they need a 5+. Yeah. Yeah, so exactly. Sent you a list of stuff I'd like to use. A list? Fucking hell, Paul. I might just say no then, if it's a list. -1 to hit doesn't make you roll become a 3. If hitting on 4s, it makes it a 5. And it only says 1 to 3 fast so you hit. No. That's not how that works, Micro M. No. That can't be how it works. Because then I could, if you're saying that if that's the case, I can hit you a ballistic skill 5+ orcs and be hitting on 4s. No, that's not how it works. Balrog agreed, so that doesn't make it worth on the Blade Champ. Give him the 5++. So I don't. So to be clear, I don't think it's worth it on the Blade Champ because only ballistic skill 4+ does it work against. So I don't think it's worth it on the Blade Champion, but it does work on the Blade Champion. So. But it only works on the Blade Champion if you're hitting on ballistic skill 4+, right? Yeah, it does seem Bodyguard has been used too liberally to work around lookouts. Bodyguard's shocking. I don't like it. I don't like the rule. And I genuinely think a simple FAQ change fixes Bodyguard. Okay. So with Bodyguard, if you changed Bodyguard ruling to say that the Bodyguard has to also be the nearest, it's only 3 units. Okay, I'll have a look, Paul. No worries, mate. If Bodyguard got changed, so they had to be the nearest invisible, much like Lookout Sir, then I'd be okay with it. Because what that would mean is, with Bodyguard, okay, so Bodyguards, it's a version of Lookout Sir. If you don't know what Bodyguard is, it's a version of Lookout Sir, whereby if you are within range of the bodyguarded unit, you can't target the character. That's important because, so say for example, Sacrosanct for Sisters, they've got Bodyguard. And then you've got, I don't know, you've got, what's her name with the wings? Celestine, Saint Celestine. So you have one Sacrosanct with Bodyguard next to Celestine, and you can't target Celestine because that Sacrosanct's still alive, okay? I'm okay with that for Bodyguard. In Lookout Sir, if you've got 4 Sacrosancts with Lookout Sir and you've got Celestine, if Celestine's the nearest to you and visible, and she satisfies those 2 specific requirements, she is the nearest to you and visible, to the shooting model, you can target Celestine even though she is within 3 inches of this unit with 4 models and Lookout Sir's a thing. If they've got Bodyguard, you suddenly can't target her. Now, go back to Lookout Sir. 1 Sacrosanct and Celestine, you can still target Celestine. And now you put the Sacrosanct in front of Celestine, you can still target Celestine because of Lookout Sir. Put it back here, go Bodyguard, you can't target Celestine because of Bodyguard. Put it here, you can't target Celestine because of Bodyguard. So the only change we need is this scenario right here, where it's less than 3 models and this unit has Bodyguard. So if you add, there needs to be the nearest and visible quantifier. You stop having a situation where you can have 1 Sacrosanct behind a building that can't be seen and a character in front of a building that can be seen, and you can't target the character because of the Bodyguard rule. It's the only change they need. It still allows units of less than 3 to act as a bodyguard, where Lookout Sir they can't be less than 3, but for me that's the only fix they need to make Bodyguard less broken and make Bodyguard a usable rule that's also quite narrative. Talk asks Ginger Steve how his tree's going. I'm trying to think what the response is going to be. So do you agree with the beachhead ruling? Bodyguard doesn't work over 9 wounds to stop the Tau character having... Yeah, so that's another thing. For me, Bodyguard shouldn't... Like, again, Bodyguard should have the same quantifier as Lookout Sir. The character has to be 9 wounds or less. Yes, I absolutely agree with that beachhead ruling. I think that's the right way to go, personally. I don't think you should be able to bodyguard a fucking hammerhead tank. That's mental, isn't it, to be honest? If you think about it logically, that's mental. Making Trajan a reasonable cost would go a long way to how much individual models cost. Trajan should be 200 points and he's still good. Shouldn't he? 200 points, still good. Can they FAQ the game? Well, with Bodyguard, is that something you can talk to Games Workshop about in your role as a playtester? Yes. Can, have, will, continue to. Ginger Steve's tree should be tall enough to get the Giant's Castle by now. I don't think Bodyguard should have to be the nearest. I just think they need to have an eligible target. Bodyguard just needs to be visible, eligible. Absolutely. I don't mind like HQ in a trio having Bodyguard, but like a regular unit getting it. Yeah, well, I guess. Big Red 40k, they could FAQ the game, but that FAQ would be out of date and they require an FAQ as it's released. Yeah, and they'd have to FAQ the FAQ. And then, you know. If only they had like an app. Wouldn't that be helpful? If you got rid of both, I think Bodyguard becomes shit. I think you just make them need line of sight to the Bodyguard model unit and that fixes it. Maybe Brandon. I don't think it makes it shit though. Like I'm saying, you can still use a 2-man unit to provide Lookout Sir with Bodyguard needing to be the nearest invisible. So Bodyguard still works because you can do it with a 2-man unit, which you currently can't do because Lookout Sir requires you to have 3 models or more. So it means that you're always protected as long as that unit's sat in front of your character, even if they go down to 1 model.
I'd settle for Bodyguard needing to be a viable target.
Yeah, I mean, it's better anyway, right? That's better than currently is. Seems legit your take on Bodyguard. Thanks, Jasper. I appreciate it. They then follow up the FAQ. Would have to be FAQ'd while FAQing all other FAQs in need of an FAQ. That's true, yeah. 200 points, he's still a must pick. Crab, 100% agree with you. Absolutely. And yet he went down in points. Madness. They're defending Longstrike. He just happens to be in a tank. Not his fault. Codex creep isn't a thing. Codex creep isn't an intentional thing, Reza. I can tell you that categorically. And you can laugh, but I'm a playtester. I've seen all the codexes that are coming out. And there is no particular order that they release them in. So they don't get worked on and released in order. So because they don't get worked on and released in order, codex creep can't be an intentional thing. Because they don't get released in order. Codex creep is a thing in the sense that they seem to be getting stronger and stronger, don't get me wrong. But it's not an intentional... I don't think it's an intentional... I don't think it's an intentional creep done on a codex per codex basis. Let me put it that way. It's an FAQ wormhole, yeah, absolutely. The only issue I have with Bodyguard is being able to do it through walls. That's the main thing I'd change. Michael, that's the bit that's the most broken about it. Being able to put a unit out of line of sight of even the character they're bodyguarding, and then they still can't target the bodyguard, target the character is mental. If you're a playtester, how didn't you catch the bodyguard thing before it came out? Because I wasn't a playtester then, Clarky. There you go. Let me put it this way. I started playtesting at the start of last year. Okay. There isn't a book release yet that I worked on. That's how far behind the release schedule is to the playtesting codexes. Didn't work on 9th as an edition. Didn't work on any of the codexes that have been released so far. When you consider the next 2 codexes they've talked about releasing, they've talked about releasing Craftworld Elder, they've talked about releasing Tyranids haven't worked on either of those either. So we're talking at least a year before they're going to release a book that I've worked on. It's not like Games Workshop say, Liam, how should we put a rule? How should we rule on this? They don't yet. No, not yet. Maybe one day they might. Maybe one day they'll see sense, right? If an FAQ ever solved anything, we'd all die. That's true. I see your point, Liam. Body cards could just be Lookout Sir Plus. I think making it Lookout Sir Plus is. I mean, I'm maybe nerfing it too hard. I'll agree. I'm maybe nerfing it too hard, but I think Lookout Sir Plus is still a decent. It's still a decent. Clark, I've just seen your message. It's still a decent rule. It's still usable. You know, you can still have 2 Sacrosancts left in the unit, and they still provide some kind of protection to your character. So you would literally need to kill the unit to a man to be able to expose that character. At the moment, with Lookout Sir, if I kill it to a 2-man unit, and the character's the nearest invisible once I've got it down to a 2-man unit, I can then target the character. I don't have to worry about that unit anymore, right? So just require the bodyguard unit to have line of sight to their target character. That way they couldn't hide behind obscuring terrain and still give it. Yeah, I agree. Would a Custodes giveaway penalty try against... Would a Custode give away a penalty try against Scotland? William, please. Please, let's not talk about the rugby. I think it all depends on who writes the book and how passionate they are about the faction. So one thing I will say for Games Workshop, where I will try and defend them, and I'm conscious there's a lot of hate for Games Workshop that exists in the world, where I will try and defend them is their writers, their rules writers who write the codexes. They do a really good... They do make a really good attempt at trying to write really narrative, nice rules on their first pass. They really, really do, genuinely. That's not me being. I'm not. It's not satire. That's just genuine. They try to make really nice narrative rules. And for narrative fluff bunnies like us, quite often we're going, yeah, that's a really cool mechanic. We really like it. The problem we have is I think the majority of playtesters out there are competitive people. And the competitive people then get hold of the rules and nerf a lot of them into the ground, and sometimes some slip through the net, and it can take a lot of the fun out of it. But also, I get the need to balance. It's hard. It's hard to. There's a saying.
Liam helped build the squat codex. They modeled the whole range on his head with Jake's body. It's also why they have land trains. Jake can't drive.
As I was saying before I say rudely interrupted by Ginger Steve, there's a saying that exists, right? You can please some of the people some of the time, but you can't please all of the people all of the time. And to some extent Games Workshop have to accept the fact they can't please all of the people all of the time. They also don't have a monumental size rules writing team. There's like 3 or 4 of them. So we have to give them some credit. 3 or 4 people writing all of the rules for 40k, right? I think they're doing an okay job. I think the playtesting teams don't, and when I say teams, I don't mean everybody, but I think there's not enough people that give them good, solid feedback. You know, it's hard. It's hard to genuinely pinpoint where exactly the problem is. It's a monumental rule set with so many rules interactions and so many different things that exist that it's almost impossible to get the rules as balanced as you can be, and things do slip through the net. The bodyguard one's something that confuses me simply because I think there's no one out there who doesn't think it's a problem, and so I don't understand how that hasn't been fixed or had an FAQ yet, but you know, it is what it is. Clarky says, damn, taking the piss didn't work. I'm joking, mate. Nice to know they're thinking that far ahead. They are thinking that far ahead. Eldar already looking like it will be. Will keep Games Workshop tradition of every Eldar book being awful to face on release. I love being an Eldar player. Why can a tank get stuck trying to run over a stupid cultist and not be able to hit the cultist it gets stuck on? What do you mean they can now? Have you done any work at all? On what, Svagnum? On codexes? Yeah, I have. Don't listen to Liam. He just buffed chaos. Well, if that was true, we'd have had Chaos Codexes by now, right? If it's been a year and they got you on board, there must be a World Eaters Codex coming then. Says who, Clarky? Says who? You got it spot on. I like your ruling. Thanks, Matt. I appreciate it. Man, maybe just listen to Liam for one FAQ cycle, get Chaos back up a notch, yeah. So what's 10th edition like then? Can't say. Agreed, vehicles should be able to smush. Bodyguard having line of sight to the guarded unit doesn't completely fix it. You can put a character in ruins. The bodyguard's behind. Guards the enemy can see the character, but not each other. They've sacked 10th edition and will go straight to 11th edition. Liam's response of disappointment makes it funnier. Thanks, Dave. I'm glad you appreciate that. Why do Custodes get bodyguard? They couldn't protect the Emperor. They shouldn't get the bodyguard rule, but have the person they bodyguard and take mortals. Brilliant, Matt. Brilliant. Sounds like a company that makes a ton of money needs to reinvest some more into their core staff headcount. Yeah, well, this isn't 21 Alaris Custodians. Jake, you're right. I don't have... So Winters didn't give me 21 Alaris Custodians because he doesn't have them. That's what I wanted to do. Who is the them in that statement? If it's the poor folks doing the writing, then sure, but we're saying Games Workshop credit? Hell no, they should have a bigger team. No, Brandon, so yes, it is the people doing the rules writing, not Games Workshop as a corporate body, but in fact the people doing the rules writing. You have to realise, there's this thing right about Games Workshop. This is something that's interesting. I'm not going to go too deeply into this, right, but this is interesting. Games Workshop are a corporation, they're a company. They have shareholders, they have money men at the top, right? So remember this. Games Workshop's number one, as with any business to be fair, right, let's be clear, this is the same for deploymentzone.tv. This is the same for Tabletop Tactics. It's the same for Apple. It's the same for Disney. Their goal is to make money. If I sat here... I'll be really honest, and hopefully you guys appreciate this honesty, right? If I sat here and I got no memberships and no super chats, I wouldn't do it. Why would I do it? If I made zero money off of this, I would just have to love it every time. And I do enjoy it, but at the moment this is now my job. Streaming and making content is my job, right? So if I made zero from it and it wasn't, what's the word I'm looking for? It wasn't value adding to my career choice currently, I probably wouldn't do it. I need to make money. I need to make money to feed the family. I need to make money to put a roof over my head. Games Workshop, they're a company. They pay many people's wages. So they need to make money. They have to make money. Now, I do not agree with some of the tactics that they have employed over the course of the last 12 to 24 months in order to try and make that money. I've made that abundantly clear on streams and on certain review videos. However, the point remains, they still need to make money. So, at the moment, their share price is on the decline overall. Okay, their share price is not doing as well as it has been doing since the launch of 8th edition. And in fact, you can Google Games Workshop share price and you can see the share price. You can see what's happened. You can see how it sat flat for 7 editions of 40k. And then it shot up after 8th edition. There was one dip when COVID happened. Otherwise, it continued to climb. And now it's on the decline again. The share price is dropping. And it's dropping by a way which is going to cost the shareholders a lot of money, ultimately. So they need to get back to making money. So how do they do that? How do they make money? Well, they could panic about the loss of money and try and squeeze even more pennies out of their current customer base. And if they do that, they might do that. If they do that, they're going to continue to lose money. They're going to continue to drop the share price because people will get pissed off and they'll stop playing and they'll stop buying. Which means I'm very positive that at some point in the nearish future, they're going to realise what's going on and they're going to go, like they did when they launched 8th edition, fuck, this isn't working. We need to make money. And companies realise that the way in which they make money is by looking after their customer base. Looking after their loyal customers. Looking after what we call their sticky customers. The customers that will come back and come back and come back and come back. You look after those people. You look after those customers. The rest of the business typically looks after itself. Okay, you look after your stickies and you make people want to stay with you and stay with you and stay with you. Other people, these stickies are going to talk to other people and go, come and play 40k, it's great. They'll do the advertising for you. They do the recruiting for you. Then what you also do as a company is you look after your staff. You look after your staff, and when the customers come into store and the staff love their job, they're going to want to sell to customers. They're going to want customers to come and be part of it. So I am positive that their need to make money will eventually result in them making better decisions for us as a customer base. There you go. That's my genuine, honest opinion. Loving the new throw, Liam. Been away from the hobby for a while and found your podcast on Spotify. Creeping back in. Major Chard, thank you. Welcome. And thanks for the kind words on my hair. Most people just take the piss, and I think it's probably jealousy, to be honest with you, mate. Mostly jealousy. Probably. Or, you know, something along those lines. Sounds like it's just normalising the spike was normally not a sustainable business growth. So if you... I can't be bothered. I could Google it and show you. The spike wasn't a spike. It was growth over like 3 or 4 years. And it is sustainable. That growth is sustainable for a period of time. But they've not treated customers or the community well. When you think about the whole launch of Warhammer Plus and some of the sort of feeling and some of the behaviour that happened around the launch of Warhammer Plus, that definitely didn't do them any favours. It created a lot of animosity towards the company. There's a lot of negative press. Negative press is going to drop a company's share price ultimately. I think there's a lot of growth still in 40k. I think there's a ton of growth still in Games Workshop and 40k. They have a huge potential growth. I reckon they can at least double their current growth. Genuinely believe that. They just have to work out how to look after their customers, how to look after their fan base. Put me in charge. Get me up there. I'll help them out. I reckon they can make a hell of a lot of more growth. I think there's a whole big market for taking. When you've got people like Henry Cavill talking about 40k, when you've got 40k potentially coming to Netflix under the Eisenhorn series, when you've got the new games coming out, Warhammer Total War 3, and you've got the new Space Marine 2, there is a huge scope for growth in the hobby. They just have to do it the correct way. There's nothing wrong with a company making money. There is something wrong with a company growing their profit at a rate Games Workshop has grown in the last 5 years and yet has not improved their staffing situation. I don't exactly agree. Jake has just confirmed by Super Chat. Squat's confirmed. No, well, he hasn't Super Chatted. Do the writers only write for 40k, or are they writers for the rules for AOS? I don't know that, Fistosen, because I don't do AOS playtesting, if I'm honest with you, mate. They need to look after narrative customers. Ginger Steve, I agree with you. You cannot continuously grow for eternity. Alan, I agree with that. They can't grow for eternity, but they can still grow. There's a lot of growth in it, right? They have a small customer base. In the grand scheme of the globe, 40k has a small customer base. There's a lot more growth. That's what they fucked up. They do. Does Games Workshop do that, though? They seem to not learn from their mistakes until it's almost too late from their history. That's true. It is true, Crypt Shadow, absolutely. I do think mini games can get to the point where video game esports is now. They can, 100%. They will never look after the staff. That's culture of the company from the start. It is. You are completely right, Liam, but I am not seeing this happen, not in the slightest. I'm not seeing it happening soon, Force, to be clear. I'm not seeing it happen soon. But money talks, and they want their shareholders need their money. I feel like we're back to the pitfalls of £30 codexes that don't add much to the existing customer base while turning off new potential players. Agree. Most companies don't look after their customers, though. They just sack the CEO, bring a new one in that makes cuts costs and drives up prices. Let's hope they don't do that, hey Bangarang. According to a Games Workshop store manager, the company model is geared towards new players and their first purchase rather than existing customers. Is it, though? Can you honestly say that 9th edition and the codex situation currently is good for new players? Do you really think that there's a lower barrier to entry for little Timmy when he walks in? When he walks into the store, I get the Games Workshop manager thinking that's what they're doing, Son of Olympia, but that's definitely not what they're actually doing. I totally agree, Liam. Yes, there is a business. They're a business at the end of the day. Yes, they want you to make. They want your money, but they want their share prices go back up. And in the foreseeable future, I think things will change again. The rules are going to get better. The rules are going to get better. I can tell you that. I just can't tell how soon they're going to start getting better. But they are going to get better. Certripix, is that how I say it? This notion of long-term employees and long-term customers being the best for companies just seems untrue with how most every other company operates. So I've managed business. When you realise nowadays that the subscription model is the best way for a company to make money nowadays, whether that's Amazon, Netflix, Disney, food companies are using it, TV companies use it, music industry is using it. Everybody's going on the route of subscription models. DZTV is a subscription model, YouTube memberships. When you look at the way in which companies are going with subscription models, the way the business is successful is repeat custom. Okay, so you look after your current customers You do things for new customers. You do things for new customers. You do things to bring in new customers. Absolutely you do. You want to bring in new customers. But you must look after your existing customers, because they become your regular beat rate of revenue, of financial income. That's what they need to do. What on earth? DZTV HR team. Who on earth is that? You do that. You look after that regular beat of customers. And at that point, you have a solid base revenue. Okay? You bring in new customers and you look after them. Your base revenue increases. Logical. Okay? So I know what you're saying, but I think when you look at the fact that the world's moving towards a subscription, the world is moving towards subscription models, you must look after current customers. Games Workshop store employees have always been a shining light for Games Workshop. They carry Games Workshop even through times when they are releasing a less enjoyable game. Yeah, well, I mean, my store manager at Southampton is incredible. He's definitely testament to that, right? Definitely testament to that, because he's always positive. I want to believe what you say, Liam. That could mean that someday Chapter Proof doesn't have any points in it and it's ring bound again and pointed digital. Please, 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 please. Liam doesn't love us enough. I absolutely do. You liar. Whoever's DZTV Human Resources team, unless you're someone from the DZTV team and you've messaged me, I'm going to ask you to change that name rapidly.
I am here to make sure you treat your staff fairly.
Because we don't have a HR team and we are a business, and I'm not having you represent the business unless I know who you are. Steve is a chode, says Jake. I do love how the US, at least, game stores can be 40k centric without being Games Workshops. They can promote good 40k tournaments, etc., without having to be a loyalist GW. Yeah. Sorry, Liam, you won't gave time to run G-dubs. What? I don't know what you say there, Dave. Josh, wait, there's a Netflix Eisenhorn series. Apparently Eisenhorn series is coming to Netflix in the future, apparently. I can believe that happened. Watch Games Workshop store selling boxes of Marines to kids. Yeah, absolutely. They're probably competing with computer games for companies with writers, designers. There are a huge demand for skilled people in the industry at the moment. They must be doing something right. I've been doing this hobby 30 years and had an 8-year gap and came back 2 years ago and love it more than ever. I've got a budget and stick to it and not chase the new hotness. That's a sensible way of playing, Rob, to be fair. Absolutely sensible way of playing. Games Workshop does have to examine revenue streams with printers' capabilities at home now. They do have to. They do have to. Subscription models are the future. Subscription models is the best way to make money in the world. It is. Look at it. Disney, Amazon, Netflix, Spotify, iTunes and Apple, Google. Everything subscription models. It's the best way to make money. It is the best way. Games Workshop have tried to move towards that model with Warhammer Plus. They fucked it. They didn't do a very good job. But they need to look into how they can make that successful. And the best way to make subscription models successful is to keep customers paying you every month. And the way you do that is by treating them well, looking after them, and offer them value for their money. Ultimately, right? Casey Anderson, one evening, sir. Evening. How are Games Workshop now treating and supporting their distributors like Element Games, etc., compared to a year ago? Do smaller hobby retailers manage to get good deal to remain viable? I have no idea, if I'm honest with you, William Wells. I've got no idea at all. Agreed, Southampton store is a great guy. Chased me right down to the subway when I forgot glue 2 days ago. He's fucking incredible, isn't he? Absolutely incredible.
I am in the minority, but I am enjoying Warhammer Plus. The shine is wearing off though when new things are teased week after week, but nothing starts since Angels ended. Starting to wonder about it.
The shine is wearing off though when new things are teased week after week, but nothing starts since Angels ended. That's a shame. It's a shame. So this is one of those situations, right? So they've offered you something, you've gone for it and said you were enjoying it, and now you're getting pissed off already. So they're not treating you well as a customer. You know? Interesting, right? Hasn't the Eisenhorn series stalled? It seems to have gone very quiet since it was announced a few years ago. Yeah, I've not heard much more about it. I just heard about it. It was Winters that told me about it recently.
Do I just delete it?
Right, as long as I know it's you, Yeston, then I'm not too much. It's not too much of a drama. Thank you for the super chats. And I didn't mean to get pissy, honestly, but we have to be careful about who uses our name I won't just let anyone put VT in front of DZTV in front of their name. Didn't know you were a Southampton boy. Yeah, Big T. I'm very local to Southampton. I won't obviously tell you exactly where I live, you know, just in case you're one of those weird stalkery type people. But I'm very, very local to Southampton. Yeston, thank you for the super chats. Thank you for the membership, mate. I do appreciate that. See, not me, says Ginger Steve. I didn't think it was you, but I have to check, right? I have to be careful. I can't say, oh, that's our human resources team, and then they say something horrendous. I'm like, uh-oh, that's just made me look horrendous. It makes me look bad. Dang, my uni dissertation was on how subscription business model was going to displace everything else ultimately. I should have monetized that shit. Well, you're right, Hamish's cat. Absolutely. I mean, I'm impressed that a cat's doing a dissertation. Haven't bought or grown on me lately, but I don't think that would have been better off as a 1 month release on YouTube to introduce new factions to players. Yeah, absolutely. Right, anyway. It's nearly 11:30. I was only going to pop on for an hour, and you guys kept me talking for a bit longer, so, you know. It's fun, isn't it? We're at 20 members. 20 members so far out of the 30. 10 to go for the month. Thank you so much to everybody who signed up and become a member. Thank you to everybody who celebrated the memberships tonight. I think I read them all out. I'm massively, massively appreciated. Genuinely. And a big thank you to the super chats for the impromptu stream. I genuinely appreciate that as well. Like I said, all joking aside, we need to make money because it puts food on the table. So thank you so much for all the super chats. Thank you for hanging out with me on a random stream. You guys are amazing. So big thanks. We've got a couple of random comments at the bottom. Excuse me. My old GW manager had me just sit down and help build some gear for a display and chat after I dealt with a pediatric cardiac arrest. It was what I needed at the time. I mean, first of all, what a fucking legend for dealing with a pediatric cardiac arrest. So what a hero. Thank you so much. And I've often said that 40k, right, is this amazing escapism, incredible escapism, right? So I love it. I think it's amazing. It is something that you can do, sit, calm down, chill, relax, escape a bit. So that's amazing. I can accept your subscription service model argument. Hope feels better every time with cynicism. I want the better GW world too. Yes, so do I. Absolutely. Fucking hell. I've been a member for a whole cat year. Brilliant. Love the random streams lately. Thank you, Liam. Well, no, I'm glad. I try not to overcommit in month one, and I'm trying to, when I feel like it, and I'm constantly feeling like it at the moment, put the camera on and go for it because it's fun to chat to you guys, right? I think it's a choice they need to make. Sell subscription app with rules and content, or use that as free advertising and platforms to sell kits. The thing is with kits is 3D printing is becoming very, very big very, very quickly, right? So I think the subscription model is the future. Talking of subscription models, please make sure you guys, if you're not already, jump in DZTV, !DZTV in the chat to come and join us in the deployment zone. There's loads of content. We've got a battle report going up tomorrow between me and Jake, Gene City Cult versus Craftwild. Super excited for that. Winters and I filmed Custodes versus Necrons today, which was good fun. And that is going up, I think, next week. There's tons of content in deploymentzone.tv. So make sure you're in there. You also get access to a Discord server, etc. So, you know, loads for your money. Loads for your money. If you're not a member, and you want to be a member, then please think about joining the stream, joining the channel as a member, come in and jump in our Discord or super chatting, because it's, like I said, it's really genuinely appreciated.
I can change the name to Official League Team.
Valrak Human Resources Team, right? That's what you want to do. But yeah, I genuinely appreciate all the super chats. I appreciate all the memberships. If you're thinking about becoming a member, just take the pledge at £2. Come and join us in Discord, because that's an incredible place as well. I'm not going to do Discord after party tonight because it's 11:30. I need to go to bed. It's been a long day with Winter's filming. We did one stream and made 2 videos. So, you know, loving this life, loving you lot, enjoying these streams. Thank you so much. You're all incredible people. And hopefully I'll see you tomorrow at 9:30. 9:30 tomorrow is the 40k show. It's our regular stream. Bring your A game, chat. Bring your super chat money. All right. Thanks very much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.